poison oak and poison ivy. I want to tell you a little secret about poison oak and poison ivy. If you are not afraid and you pick this stuff and you periodically rub it on your skin, rub it all over your neck, and once in a while eat some of it, doesn't taste very good, you'll build up an immunity and you'll never get poison oak again. Haha, so those of you who were paying attention, you'd know that that really isn't poison oak, but it sure looks like it. That's hawthorn. Don't do what I just showed you. Had you going though, didn't I?
Now, the irony of that joke is it actually happened to me. An old Mexican gardener at one of my job sites one time, I was talking to him, and he went over and he picked some poison oak, and he did that. I don't know if it's true or not. So, we're back out at a complex. We're going to be working here for a couple of weeks. And this is kind of a tips and tricks type of a video. I'm going to talk about a lot of little things. And paying attention to what you're working on is really important. These sycamore trees were all topped a long, long time ago. And a lot of the decisions that you're making when you're working, especially in a crowded type of an environment like this where a lot of people live, you have to make the decisions correctly. Now this is interesting. This is a Bradford pear, and I'm doing kind of an overview of the steps that we're taking. And we have to say, why are we doing so much? Well, one, it's too close to the building. Two, it keeps getting hit by trucks. Three, it's been topped in the past and it was ready to fall apart. So we had to do that. Somebody inventoried all the trees a long time ago with these metal tags. And this one actually had a wire or string around it. So I think that the nail would have been less offensive to this little Japanese maple than the wire. Here's a cut that I was making on a flowering plum, and had I started with a chainsaw in close, I probably would have nicked the inside. So I come in from the outside, put a little stick in there to keep it open, and finish it off with a handsaw. And if you slow down, then you don't end up nicking the other branch. So sometimes you find little treasures where you're working, and these flowering plums had some ripe plums that were delicious. This is a tree we don't work on too often. It's a ginkgo biloba, and it's an exceptionally large one. There's a close-up of what the leaves are like. And that particular ginkgo was there before they built the complex. It's a significant old tree. It was probably part of an old home or an old estate. And what's interesting about this is it was a double-trunked tree at one time, and they took off half of the tree. And I can't quite figure it out, but I believe that at one time they must have built with both trunks there. And I think that the realization of the second trunk being so close caused them to decide to cut that off. But the reason I say that is when you look way up high, you see an old cable stub. It's an old common wrapped stub there, and it was cut off a long time ago, so the two centerpieces were cabled together, and I'm guessing that was by the complex. Oh, this is kind of sad. I was working along and I found this fresh hummingbird nest, and Mama was flying around. I went, ah. So I'm not sure if it'll work or not, but I felt guilty enough where I took this fresh little hummingbird nest and I got some vine, real strong vine, and I wrapped it all back up in the tree close to where it got cut out. We shall see. I'll check again today. We're going back there. On that same tree, there was a lot of dead pieces, and these holes in here are from carpenter bees. And pay attention. The flowering plums are a favorite for carpenter bees, and all it takes is one little entryway hole. And if you see that entryway hole, pay really close attention, because this tree, or this particular limb, was actually still alive. It was dying, and I spotted that, and I decided to take it all the way off. But there's the amount of decay that's inside of it. And that carpenter bee left for a very, very fragile spot. I just banged it on the ground. It popped open. So it was a recipe for a complete failure. And finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about your chainsaw. I don't really talk about maintenance too much, but use a lens, a hand lens, and look at the teeth closely, and you can see just how dull it is. You can also see the mark on the backside. Here's a cool trick. Try it. Use a golf ball as a handle. It fits your hand so nicely. I find it so much better than a long stick or a regular file handle, but the roundness is good. And here's the tooth after I filed it, and I took the hand lens back to it. You can see it's still not quite sharp. So take a hand lens and check your work, see what you're doing. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and hang in there and subscribe to my channel. Give me some likes. Thanks a lot.